Like and subscribe might be a simple click for you, but it will lead to a transformational change of our channel. Support us to achieve 5 million subscribers by year 2028. An RAF airfield in Scotland is being readied for the arrival of a hijacked transatlantic flight. Colonel Drummond is summoned to manage the crisis. Upon his arrival, an officer informs him that it is presumed the pilot and co-pilot are deceased. Drummond is aware that at least one individual on the aircraft is on the German terrorist watch list. As Drummond enters the control center, an officer communicates with the plane, providing landing instructions, while another monitors its approach. The plane lands roughly. Drummond requests visual confirmation from his team and contacts the aircraft, inquiring about the onboard situation when movement is detected near one of the doors. A parachute is seen descending, and soldiers spot a boy climbing down. Drummond orders 2 RAF trucks to retrieve him. They observe a new figure in the cockpit, and Drummond radios him, warning that they will open fire if he moves, instructing him to sit in the pilot's seat and raise his hand slowly. The man requests to leave the plane to explain himself, insisting he is not a terrorist. Later, Drummond sends a translator to speak with the boy, Elias, who is being examined by a doctor. The translator learns nothing as Elias is in shock. Flashback to a day earlier, Elias's mother, Nadia, is in a hotel bathroom preparing for their flight. She converses with her doctor in New York about her treatment for a mysterious illness. Elias informs Nadia he has checked their luggage, and she arrives at the airport at night, greets Elias, and they pass through security to the waiting area where she leaves Elias and goes to the bathroom before boarding. Nadia prepares a syringe with her medication, drinks from a bottle, feels its effects, and injects herself. In the waiting room, Elias chats with a man named Farid, who later asks where his mother is. Nadia soon arrives, and they board the plane, taking their seats. The lead stewardess offers coffee to the pilot and co-pilot, Bastian, and asks 8-Ball to handle a problematic first-class passenger. The plane takes off from Germany, heading to the US. After a few hours, Nadia returns from the bathroom, writes in her notebook, and finds a photo of her and her late husband. She recalls their past, starting fondly and ending with them and their baby stranded. Her husband left to seek help while she stayed with the baby. Back in the present flight, Nadia notices a disturbance. 8-Ball is dealing with an unruly passenger when one air marshal intervenes, followed by another. 8-Ball then pulls out a knife, killing the second marshal, as the passenger overpowers the first. 8-Ball inquires about the location of the third air marshal and, upon learning it, sends one of his men to deal with her. Curtiz kills the marshal, takes her gun, and returns to 8-Ball, who then brutally kills the remaining air marshal, much to Carl's horror. Nadia senses something is amiss. Suddenly, 8-Ball returns to the passengers, instructing them to stay seated while brandishing a gun. His accomplices join him, forcing everyone to the rear of the plane. Berg approaches the cockpit, knocks, and Bastian opens the door, revealing he has killed the pilot. They dispose of the body through a hatch, and Berg announces their takeover, ordering the passengers to place their hands on the seats in front of them. Yuri, a bearded man, finds the black box and reprograms it, informing Berg in the cockpit. The co-pilot adjusts the plane's course. Elias, fearful for his mother, checks the plane's schematics and tells her where to hide from sunlight. Curtiz moves Farid to the front of the plane while Carl tries to calm 8-Ball, and Elias escapes his seat. Nadia follows Elias with 8-Ball in pursuit, who then shoots her in front of Elias. 8-Ball grabs the boy, and Carl returns him to his seat, instructing him to stay put. Berg meets Curtiz halfway to the back, learning of the incident. Berg confronts 8-Ball, threatening to kill him if he repeats such actions, yet he uses Nadia's death to intimidate the passengers. In a flashback, we see Nadia waiting in a car with her baby as her husband goes for help. After a while, she ventures into the woods, following his path to an abandoned house. Inside, she finds blood leading to the basement, where a vampire emerges and chases her. She locks herself in the basement, discovering her husband's dead body. The creature tries to enter through a window, and Nadia fights it off, getting bitten before it is killed by sunlight. Nadia awakens on the plane, alive. She hears dogs in the hold and descends through a hatch. Meanwhile, Berg forces Farid and 2 others to read a terrorist-sounding message. In the hold, Nadia hides under a car as Curtiz and Yuri search for tools to build a bomb. Yuri sets up the bomb while Nadia feeds on a dog. The dog's noise angers Yuri, who returns to find Nadia, who then attacks and kills him. Farid returns to the passengers and sits beside Elias. Nadia rapidly transforms into her vampire form, feeling her teeth emerge. She prepares to inject her medicine but hears Berg calling Yuri, informing him there are 10 minutes until the jump. Nadia drinks Yuri's blood, accelerating her transformation, and heads back to the main cabin. The hijackers lie to the passengers, claiming they will release nerve gas if anyone moves, then proceed to the hold where they find Yuri's body and a dog, which Nadia has set up to make it appear the dog killed him. Nadia has set the dog loose to make it look like it killed Yuri. She heads to the back of the plane to retrieve Elias, causing panic among the passengers who fear she might trigger the gas. Nadia and Elias go to the cockpit, discovering the pilots have abandoned it. She returns to the passengers, asking if anyone can fly the plane. A man volunteers and accompanies Nadia to the cockpit, while Farid explains the statement he read to the other passengers. In the cockpit, Nadia locks the doors before Farid can join them. Meanwhile, the hijackers don scuba gear and prepare to jump, with Berg coordinating their ocean pickup. Nadia continues to transform, worrying Elias. The man realizes the plane is on autopilot. Nadia sees the hijackers on the security monitors and instructs him to wait until they jump before turning off autopilot. 8-Ball realizes Nadia is not dead and returns to the plane with Berg to search for her. A passenger reveals she is in the cockpit, and they demand she opens the door. Nadia instructs the man to turn the plane back toward the US, despite being closer to Europe. Scared, he complies. Noticing the plane's turn, Berg threatens to kill a passenger. He shoots one and warns Nadia they will continue killing unless she opens the door. 8-Ball grabs a little girl, and Berg threatens her, counting down. Before Berg can shoot the girl, Nadia bursts out of the cockpit, attacking him and biting his neck, terrifying Bastian and the others. The man in the cockpit locks the door again, keeping Elias inside. Nadia finishes drinking Berg's blood and pursues the other hijackers, who retreat to the hold. Berg begins transforming, and Nadia returns to kill him, witnessed by 8-Ball. She advises Elias not to open the door for his safety, then checks her transformation progress in the lavatory. 8-Ball examines Nadia's bag and reads from her notebook to the other hijackers, revealing she is a vampire. Skeptical, Carl doesn't believe it, despite the others' accounts of Nadia's actions. Distraught, Carl focuses on 8-Ball's maniacal behavior as 8-Ball brandishes a UV light to harm Nadia. She injects herself with medicine and recalls another flashback. In the flashback, Nadia struggles to care for baby Elias while feeding herself. As the baby cries, she hisses but then pulls out her fangs in the bathroom to prevent harming him. Returning to the house where she was turned, she encounters the vampire's father. The man explains his son's uncontrollable nature and shoots her, declaring they are cursed and bring only suffering. Back on the plane, 8-Ball crafts a stake as the hijackers argue. Carl convinces Bastian their only chance is to regain control of the cockpit. Ignoring warnings, Elias leaves the cockpit, retrieves Nadia from the bathroom, and drags her back. The hijackers return, and the man locks himself in the cockpit again. Nadia rises to face 8-Ball, who attacks her with a stake and UV light. Burned, Nadia faints. 8-Ball orders the hijackers to take control while he investigates. He finds a syringe and fills it with her blood. As he prepares to stake her, Elias threatens him with a gun. 8-Ball advances, and in the struggle, the gun fires, depressurizing the plane. Bastian alerts them they have only 10 minutes of oxygen and must lower the plane. Nadia secures an oxygen mask for Elias, retrieves the gun, and shoots 8-Ball, who flees. Simultaneously, the man in the cockpit passes out from lack of oxygen, allowing the hijackers to re-enter. Nadia brings Elias to the front of the plane and hands him over to Farid just as the aircraft suddenly loses altitude. She pursues 8-Ball, finding him inside a bulletproof car, and despite her efforts, her bullets have no effect. The maniac injects himself with her blood, ignoring her desperate pleas. 8-Ball starts transforming immediately, and Nadia realizes what she must do to stop him. She gathers matches and alcohol, returns to the car, and sets 8-Ball on fire. She recalls the old vampire's warning about not letting their evil spread and resolves to stop it. As she begins to smash his face, 8-Ball taunts her, claiming she cannot control the evil within her. The plane finally stabilizes, but the hijackers notice the fire in the hold. Before they can intervene, Nadia has already extinguished the flames and crawls back inside the plane. The hijackers open fire at Nadia, causing panic among the passengers who rush towards the front, including Farid carrying Elias. Discovering 8-Ball alive in the car, the hijackers are caught off guard as he attacks Kurtais, drinking his blood before going after the others. Nadia quickly secures the hold door, hearing Elias warn that passengers want to harm her. Despite Farid's reassurances, discord among the passengers leads to Nadia being shot, prompting her to break free and confront Farid. Elias convinces Nadia not to harm Farid, but tension remains high as Nadia realizes the vampires must not re-enter the plane. She rushes to contain 8-Ball behind a door, but Farid attempts to help and gets bitten by 8-Ball. Another passenger shoots 8-Ball, and Nadia amputates Farid's hand to stop the infection. Meanwhile, Curtiz transforms fully and tries to re-enter the plane from below, but Nadia manages to push both Curtiz and 8-Ball back, saving a stewardess from being attacked. Returning to the passengers, Nadia reunites with Bastion as Farid assures everyone of her loyalty. Nadia takes Bastion to the cockpit, where he informs her they urgently need to find the nearest airport due to low fuel. Farid and Elias persuade Nadia to investigate below the cockpit, staying with Bastion. The pilot contacts the RAF base, reporting the hijacking and the lockdown hijackers in the cargo hold. Meanwhile, Elias searches for Nadia's medicine while chaos reigns among the passengers dealing with the rampaging vampires. Despite the dangers, Nadia and Farid witness the passengers attempting to breach the cockpit door. Nadia understands that landing the plane could unleash the vampires on board. Farid suggests landing and remotely detonating the plane. They head to the fuel tank but lack a timer. Nadia volunteers to manually detonate the bomb after evacuating the plane, explaining her plan to Elias, who refuses to leave her. He ventures into the hold to find the hijacker's timer, armed with a UV light for protection. Elias retrieves the timer amid a confrontation with the vampires, prompting Nadia to intervene from the cockpit. She ensures the plane, now on autopilot, can be landed with external guidance. Nadia makes Farid promise to protect Elias and completes her transformation by feeding on Bastion. In a desperate struggle, Elias faces the vampires while Nadia fights off 8-Ball, eventually pushing him out into sunlight thanks to Farid's intervention. Elias feeds Nadia his blood, helping her regain control as they face the imminent threat of vampires below. At the RAF base, Elias pleads for Farid's rescue, but misunderstandings lead to tragic consequences as soldiers board the plane, unaware of the lurking danger. Elias takes matters into his own hands, detonating the bomb to save others, with Farid finding him amidst the aftermath. In a poignant reunion, Elias and Farid embrace amid the remnants of the harrowing ordeal. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't miss any of our video updates.